Hey, what's going on YouTube? Before we get started with this week's Tuesday Preppers video, I just wanted to say a very special thank you to Sinzar for having me in his news video this week. It was a lot of fun having that conversation and chit-chatting with people after the fact and kind of responding to, replying to comments and things that took place after that. So it's just been a really fun day. And I'm very, very appreciative of Sinzar for letting me be a part of that. I got involved in in streaming and making these kind of videos and stuff by and large because I enjoy being a part of the gaming community for FFBE. Having a conversation like we did today was just a big part of what makes that great. So thank you again, Sinzar, and now on with the show. Hey, what's up, YouTube, and welcome to this week's episode of Tuesday Preppers. And we're going to go off script a little bit here today and break the format, which I know is against the rules. We don't want to break the format, but some stuff's going on where we've got a couple things to talk about in a little bit different way. And to help us with that, we've got a very special guest for the very first time ever here. We've got Sinzar, who I'm sure most of you know because his videos recommend you guys to me, and my videos recommend you guys to him, so I'm sure you all know, but I'll go ahead and let him say hello.
Hey, what's up, guys? Glad to be here to help out with the video.
I really appreciate your input and giving me a couple minutes to do this. So the exciting stuff, if you've checked out the news in game, you already know what we have going on this week is, of course, Clash of Wills, and I've heard you talk about this several times in a lot of your videos. Clash of Wills is your favorite stuff. Clash of Wills happens to be my favorite stuff, and so I think it's extra fun that I've got you here talking about that with us today. Are you excited so far, based on what you've seen in the news?
Oh, by far, definitely. I'm still a little bit scarred from the chromatic waves last month, but I am really looking forward to this month for new month, new season 4, and new boss. So absolutely, extremely excited.
And new really good craftable gear, which is one of my favorite parts of Clash of Wills, like getting all the the freebie rewards and the craftable stuff. It's looking good. I'm excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
So what we know, and if you've been around, so we check the news in game. We know we look at the important verifiable, relatable stuff is from the April monthly bulletin. We know the boss is a human reaper, weak to fire, ice, and light. And our goal here is to be talking about killers and stuff that you can get in game. So we're gonna take a look at human killers and reaper killers really quick. And we've talked about human killer a lot, especially with the most recent World of Visions event with Dark Rain and all of that. So we've talked a lot about oh look at what I did. We've talked about a lot of human killer stuff, so I'm not gonna hang on this for too long. But this is just a reminder that there is a lot of really good human killer stuff in the game. The Cross Aigion arm is probably one of my favorite human killer items that you can equip, just because it's a very strong two-handed weapon. But there's a lot of other reasonable stuff here as well. What do you think of those? Do you like any of those? Do you not like any of those? Are we missing something really important for freebie human killer stuff?
Well, from this list, the ones that I use most often would be the Mask of Ashura is amazing. It also has dual killer on it.
It does.
And then the Cross Aigion arm, a little bit less these days because Tifa I used to use her constantly. She's fallen out of the meta a little bit, but it's still an outstanding item, especially for Carton. If you're still using Carton, excellent item for him.
Yeah, I end up putting it on Titus a lot as well. Star player Titus.
Oh yeah, good point.
Yeah, just because if you're gonna run him with Cacteria, which is a reasonable choice because of water imperil and all that. So yeah, I don't have Carton. We don't have Carton. We're sad about that.
Oh no.
Some of us took your advice a little too seriously.
I know. I sabotaged it.
It happens. What really happened is I didn't have any Lapis because it was either right after Sephiroth or it was right before. Or it was right after the Legend of Mana units. So it was one of those situations. I didn't have any Lapis, so I didn't pull. So, oops. Maybe next year. But the one I want to talk more about is Reaper, because this is a new one that we've not had yet in this series. And as you can see, the list is actually really, really good for available Reaper killer stuff. I think my favorite things on here are probably Undead Killer Plus and Undead Killer, just because you can theoretically make as many Undead Killer Pluses as you want. with the recipe. So that's super good.
Yeah, it's one of the really nice changes Global made is, for people that aren't really aware, on the JP server, the Undead Killer Plus recipe required you to farm rat tails from Bahamut Island, and you needed 10 tails per recipe. I basically just don't do it on the JP server because it is way too tedious.
Mm-hmm.
But on the Global, you don't have to do any of that. You can just use those Enlightenment keys that you've been stocking up for a year with no use and get a bunch of those killers. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's super, super good. I also really like, and they're kind of similar, the Reaper Eater Sense and the Conquering the Fear of Spirits. One is physical only and one is physical and magical, but they're both 75%, and not terribly difficult to get either. I would say probably the easier of the two is the Ancient Hellbringer, but still, I mean, they're good free pickups. I think I'm probably, going to go after either Stroper or Ancient Hellbringer when we do this on stream. So that's probably my pick. I'm less excited about Ancient Sword, just because it is a one-handed weapon. But then the Stardust Rod, we don't have two-handed mage variants yet, so that's still very useful, I think. Even though the stats are not super great, if you're just dying for killer on it, and it also helps with Comet and Meteor, I think. Definitely Comet. I don't know about Meteor, but it helps out with a couple different things. So those are pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of a problem these days with like these trial rewards that were once upon a time they were amazing. It's just like you mentioned, one-handed weapons for physical are just not really meta relevant too often anymore. So while it's like Ancient Sword is a great killer option, it's just not usually going to be in like a best in slot build.
Yeah. That's my big complaint about the Dark Visions weapons, for what that's worth too. Like I get questions sometimes like, oh, what weapon should I focus on building? And it's just like, well,
yeah, the rod, the harp, and then from there it kind of drops off.
Yeah, cool. And then just for like TMRs and STMRs, notice Cleome's on there twice because both of hers do give Undead Killer. The Blackblade Princess is only 25%, but it is still there. And then one of my favorites, the original Onion Knight has 50% and like a bunch of attack when you're wearing a sword, which is potentially a chainable combo with the Ancient Sword or other units that use swords. So that's fairly good. Onion Knight is one of my other like really early picks for rainbows that I got. I think I got him on my first pull, so that was pretty cool back in the day. But obviously not seeing a whole lot of use for original Onion Knight now. But 50%, not terrible.
Something else I'm not sure if you usually mention, but Esper's Undead Killer is actually on 4 different Espers. 3 different Espers. It's on, Bahamut's got all killers, but it's also got Phoenix, and then Odin has another Undead Killer. So you can actually get Undead Killer from 3 different Espers, which is not common.
Not common, and it's really good. Good point too. People forget a lot about Odin because I think doesn't Odin only have 50%?
Yeah, it's just a single 50 node.
Yeah, but still, it's there, and for if you're trying to piece it all together to get to 300, it's not a bad option. Got to be careful with Phoenix though sometimes, depending on what you're fighting, because sometimes bosses like zombie.
Oh yeah, the auto healing and all that.
Yeah, got to be careful with how you build your Phoenix. So, all right. Well, for right now, that's all I've really got as far as this part goes, and I'm gonna cut here, and we'll go to me working on a trial. When I'm not eating up all your time, but I do appreciate you hanging with us and giving a little bit of feedback here.
Sure thing. Glad to help out. It's fun.
All right. Well, we'll break here and jump over to the trial. Hang tight. All right. So through the magic of editing, here we are. And we don't have Sinzar with us anymore, but we're still going to go ahead and go into some trials like we talked about. And on stream tonight, we did work out a team that was going to help us to do a couple of these trials for the Reaper Killer like we talked about. The ones in particular we're going to be focusing on this list are Scorn of the Ancient Hellbringer, the Scorn of Tiamat, and then the Scorn of Octopus and the Teacher. The good news is we're going to be able to use the same team for all of these without making any modifications, but you could definitely make modifications if you're having trouble with like doing enough damage or you know, something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the team that we're going to be using for all 3 of these fights. By and large, the middle 3 units, Lightning, Elena, and Sylvie, are not really wearing any equipment. So let's take a look. They are wearing a little bit of equipment, and there's also some Esper fill in there, which I know is, you know, controversial because it's TMR related, but you don't have to do the Esper fill mission. Like, if you feel like doing an Esper to get all the rewards, then great. You know, you either have to draw the fight out or equip some Esper fill. If you don't want to do it and you just want to focus on getting the rewards that don't involve casting Espers, then don't. Here's all she's got though. She's got a couple of Esper fill things and then a couple weapons. This form does have a little bit more gear, but we're not perfectly buffing her out. I just have some gear on. You could probably take some of this off if you really wanted to. Titus is doing most of the damage. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and demonstrate that. We're gonna take this off, okay, and we don't need any of this. We're just gonna have the weapons on. Same thing with Elena. You know, we're gonna take off everything we don't need. I tried putting some stuff on and it didn't really make that big of a difference, so I'm just gonna take it off. Okay, she's got her own TMR for triple cast, and then in the shift form, which is where she's starting, she's got some Esper fill, and that's really it. Okay. Sylvie, same thing. You know, really just has her spring basket on. Okay, so those 3 units are really basic. The 2 that matter a whole lot are going to be your magic cover tank and then Titus. So you could pretend like you're doing this with a friend unit. You could have, like, if you have Chow, you can go ahead and build your Chow up, and if you have Titus, you can go ahead and build your Titus up and then ask a friend to do their Chow. Or if you happen to have both, you could do this. But having a unit that has automatic preemptive attack magical cover for the Scorn of the Hellbringer is really important. So here's how we've got Chow built. Chow's built really well. The important thing is you have to have more than 250 ice and fire resistance, and nothing else really matters. Just, you know, that's it. Having Chow at EX plus 2 also is very important because you get to use his limit burst right away. If you don't have that, you just have to find a way to fill his limit burst. Yeah, there we go. So we're gonna be using Chow here. I guess I'll show you how I've got the gear set up. So here's the gear he's got to be able to reach 250. Okay, there it is. And then Titus, I've got Titus built this way just because we're using lightning to bring a gun in peril. We gotta have gun equipped, and then machine killer, normal stuff, LB damage machine killer. Not even like best in slot Titus, but this still works. So however you want to build your Titus up and your Chow up, you know, do that. If you don't have Chow and you need a preemptive magic cover, you could use Biggs and Wedge from Final Fantasy VII. You could use Shoreline, Fina, and Daisy. They have preemptive magic cover as well. But Chow does have his limit burst, which helps a lot with round 2 of the Hellbringer fight. So let's go into the Hellbringer fight and show what we're doing here. The quests are 10 turns or less. We're doing it in 3. Evoke an Esper, we're doing that on turn 1, and party of 5 or less. If you want all those, that's what you got to do. If you don't care and you just want this, then don't worry about the rest and just beat the trial. Okay, we're not gonna bring a friend. And here's our team. All right, the Esper fill is going to fill the gauge, and then on turn 1, we're going to be able to cast an Esper. There's the preemptive attack that Chow is resisting. That preemptive attack also does not do any imperils, so we're in good shape. But here's how we're going to handle this. So turn 1, Titus is going to evoke an Esper. Lightning is going to roll shift and do her 2 Magnus ability, or her 2 cooldown abilities, or well, her 1 cooldown, her Magnus, and then just one of her abilities. You can't really target Omega because the little searcher robot covers Omega, but you know, it's whatever. We're not really going to do any damage till turn 3. Elena is going to use crystal refragmentation just to have something to do. There we go. Sylvie is just going to hop into battle on Titus. Marion, watch over me on anybody because it's an AoE party buff. And then all eggs in one basket on Lightning. Cool. And then Chow's just going to keep the cover going. Use Focused Inspiration and Most Loyal Hearts. That's only if you're going to be going past turn 3. If you're going to be able to do this on turn 3 and kill the boss, you're fine. You don't need to worry about any of the status immunity stuff. But if you're not, that's why we're doing it. If you can't make it past turn, if you have to go to turn 4, which is where some status happens, you have to have that immunity up. So some attacks happen on turn 1, just like that. Chow covers it. Now he is imperiled, so his resistance went below, 250, but it's okay. He's fine. Turn 2, Titus is just going to use Ace ability, just for something to do. Lightning is going to use Rose and Bloom to amplify the party and apply Lightning Element. This boss is weak to Lightning. Elena is going to just use Celestial Guidance. Sylvie is going to use triple Bolt Egg for the AoE Imperil. And then hop to the rescue on Chow. And really can use whatever else. Protective Petals, why not? Chow's going to use the Limit Burst. This is going to give stacks of Mirage, which are going to help protect us from the hybrid damage that's coming on turn 2. Because it's uncoverable, but you can dodge it. There we are. Okay, and we're ready. On turn 3, the Searcher stops covering the boss. The boss is able to be attacked. So we're going to just do Super Limit Burst. We're going to do some Bolting Strike Chains. And this is going to be the end of it. We'll do the weak one and then 2 of the good one. Blade, Piercing, Piercing. On Omega. The timing, you just kind of launch the Limit Burst when he starts jumping in the air, then you use your Chainers. There we go. It does not kill the Searcher because we weren't attacking the Searcher really, but that does not matter. We're just going to guard, and the Searcher's going to blow up. Okay, there it is. So, we did it in 4 turns because the Searcher didn't kill himself for some reason. I've never seen that happen before. That's really weird. But we're good to go. So, we did everything we wanted to. We cast an Esper, 10 turns or less, party of 5, and we beat the trial. So, we're good. Titus does most of the work. There he is. And we're good. Now, I did say this team works for the other 2 trials that we're going to do as well. So, I'm going to go ahead and scroll down. These are a lot less involved. Because they are lower difficulty. So Scorn of Tiamat, for example, we're just going to go in. You have to beat him with a Limit Burst, evoke an Esper, and 25 turns or less. This is not going to be difficult. So not difficult, we're just going to not take a friend, right? We're going to take the same team. All right. So we've the first thing he does give himself some Mirage. You can kind of see he's or she, Tiamat's a she, has some ghostly dragons hanging out there. That's fine. To deal with that, we're just gonna chain. So we're just gonna chain. I'm not gonna use a light element. We're just gonna use a non-elemental attack for all of these. So this one's non-elemental. There we go. And non-elemental. Sylvie, though, is going to give us a earth attack with Gravel Egg, and then buff the party and reduce magic damage. No, withstand the elements. Chow's gonna do Festive Fortune to just cover everything. And we're gonna chain. Okay. Turn 2 or turn 1, the boss is gonna do some things. Nothing's really gonna happen. Chow's gonna protect us a lot and then die. It's all good. It's all good. You can have deaths. Okay? Does not matter. We'll just go again. Okay? There she goes. Doesn't matter if people die on this trial, so... You know, I didn't beat with a Limit Burst. You could have, maybe I could have used Titus's Limit Burst on last turn and taken it out, you know, instead of chaining. Maybe. But with all those Mirage stacks, it makes it kind of hard to do that. You could negate, deal with that by bringing a 6th party member, but if you only really care about getting the sword, that got you the sword. Last one we're going to do here is the Scorn of the Octopus and the Teacher. And again, we're going to bring the same team. We're not changing anything. Cool. No changes. All right. Here we are. This one starts off with some resistances and stuff. Hits you a couple of times. It's not a big deal. Thank you, Lightning. So it's got Lightning resist, Earth resist, Dark resist, Fire or Ice resist, and Fire resist. So we can use Light. Okay. Thank you, Sylvie, for the glittery egg and the Marion Watch Over Me. And we'll go ahead and do Protective Vines. Okay. Doesn't really matter. This boss is just going to melt completely. Chow is going to go ahead and just heal us. All right. And we're just going to go ahead and bolting strike the heck out of it. Have to shift to get the non-elemental attack. That's important. And get those non-elemental attacks so that we can use our light. Okay, and here goes. Now we're not done. We have to go to turn 2. Chow's going to cover us on this one. But that's why we healed on turn 1. All right. And we're just going to go ahead and on this one, we're going to hit Orthros. Orthros has the same weaknesses. Typhon, right? This time we want to use, or it doesn't have the same weaknesses. We want to use lightning on this one, so we'll do lightning, right? We'll do bolt egg, and we'll use Marion, and we'll use reduce magic damage. Why not? We're gonna do cure just to get everybody back on their feet, and yeah, we're back to it. I changed targets in the middle of that just to hit Typhon and make sure that they both go away, and that gets us the Stardust Rod. So with this one team, you know, we were able to go in and get all 3 of those done relatively painless, right? There it is. So hopefully that's helpful. and you can go in and get some Reaper Killer if you don't have those items, or the Reaper Conquering the Fear of Spirits, to get you ready for all the Reaper Killer you're going to need for Clash of Wills. And that's pretty much what we got for right now. So if that's helpful, if you see this and you've never seen this channel before, or this series before, feel free to subscribe and come back for Friday's content, as well as come check us out on Twitch on Thursday, when we're going to start working on Clash of Wills, and maybe do some really depressing Steel Castle Malfikia runs. You know, lately it has not been very good. Probably also going to be doing some polls for Freya with tickets. I don't know if I'm going to do Lapis yet, but I'm probably going to do some polls with tickets because I do want her, and that's exciting. So without further ado, we'll see you Thursday, and then see you Friday, and then see you Saturday, because that's what we do around here. We be consistent. All right, you guys take care and have a good one.